Shout out to the good people in the world. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in to the 129 podcast. This is the 129 podcast. My name is Kevian. This is my boy Mac. And this is 129 forever, man. So, Mac, any words you want to say before we get started?
Just more or less, let's get into the episode. Hopefully give you guys some decent advice or some perspective on something that's happening in the world.
Man, it's a lot I know this background look a little different than the previous episodes, but this is where I first started, so sometimes you got to go back home. Sometimes you got to go back to where you come from.
You got to go back to your roots a little bit.
Exactly.
You can't get too, got to be humble.
Facts. The very first video I ever recorded on any of my social media pages, the very first video you see was recorded right here exactly in that seat right there. But it's a lot we're going to be talking about today, but right off the back, man, I ain't gonna lie, we about to get a little deep. What's the hardest thing that you've been through? And how did you overcome it?
Honestly, I feel like for me, it was just not dramatize or anything like that, but, when you're a younger person and you lose one of your best friends or someone that's super close to you, I feel like that,
right.
It's very hard to internalize because when you get older, you have more experience, more or less. You kind of know how to deal with loss. But when I was 18 years old, I unfortunately lost my best friend to a drug overdose.
Right.
And that was something that more or less you don't realize it, but it changed you forever. And because more or less your innocence is gone.
Right.
That whole idea of the playful kid in the world not being such a bad place is instantly out the window.
Right.
And now it's just more or less of looking at life holy shit, this is real now. And the person that you were playing basketball with last week, laughing, shooting jokes with, is now in a casket, and you're just staring at their lifeless body. And that was something for me that was just super emotional, and it really did affect me. And it's something that even to this day I still do think about him, R.I.P. Dimitri. But it's something for me where that was one of the biggest, biggest tragedies, also one of the biggest turning points in my life, because more or less for me it kind of, taught me what in terms of, the right crowd to hang out with, the right and wrong stuff to do,
Right.
Kind of taught me more or less how I want to do and how I want to be in this world and what type of person I want to be.
For sure, man. And it's crazy because I can relate to. I come from a background, and I shouldn't even be saying this, but I have a lot of, I just be blunt, I have a lot of dead friends.
Yeah.
And the dead friends that I have, they would be either the same age as me now or even younger.
No. Well, dude, that's the hard part, though, because, not to cut you off, but,
Are you good?
When that the hardest thing to think about, I think, with him, and it's not something where I think about him now and instantly cry anymore, but with him especially, though, just thinking about, where he would be in terms of, today now, Dimitri, he always had a dream of, literally doing underwater welding in Florida.
Right.
And it's kind of, sometimes I will sit back and, think about that and just be damn, it's something that was just, really, really tragic that happened and that really affected me. And, with...
Facts.
Yeah, but you think about that, though. And in terms of, where they would have been and, what they could have done.
For sure.
But in the same time, it gives you perspective on your life, and I feel for me, at least, being grateful for, what I have and not taking any single day for granted and waking up every day and just having that mindset of we're gonna attack today.
Right. Well, y'all the same age?
Yeah, he was same class, everything. COVID happened, and then it just more or less it happened.
I'm not gonna lie, man. When you was talking, that just reminded me of somebody that I once knew. Just being from that small town of Chiefland, it was this dude named Deshaun. And shout out to Deshaun. Rest in peace to Deshaun dearly. That man, he was a big role model, not only to me, but to the whole city of Chiefland. The whole city of Chiefland, the whole population is 3,000 people. So everybody that goes to Barry and the faculty and stuff like that, it's the same amount of people that will live in that town. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was a town that nobody really didn't separate themselves or even try to be different. But that dude Deshaun, he was just one of those people that he just had an aura to them. When he stepped into any room, he just his presence was just known. And a lot of people like myself looked up to him. One thing about me, I don't really look up to anybody up to this day. But that's one person that really had an impact on my life. And I can honestly say that if it wasn't for Deshaun, I would not be sitting right here right now. But I definitely feel what you were saying. But when he passed away, it took a whole nother part out of me.
No.
And it took a whole nother...
Especially depending on how long This is a guy, Dmitry, that I played football with for 4 years,
For sure.
Countless times of, fun memories.
Yeah.
Like, just being at parties, doing whatever. But, like, that piece of you is now gone.
Yeah.
And it's something that can't or will never be replaced, in my opinion.
No, for sure.
Because even you can fill yourself up with so much activities and, getting drunk or getting fucked up. But at the end of the day also, too, it's one of those things where you kind of have to internalize it and think about it in the perspective of it's kind of keeping it. I don't know the words to say.
Yeah.
But just being grateful, though. That for me is like the number one thing. And
sure.
just like, thinking about like how he would want to live his life. Because it was the same way for me where Dimitri more or less like he just introduced me to like culture and kind of just everything. Because, as a kid coming from like a predominantly white town.
Yeah.
When I lived in Indiana, I had no idea really about anything. And then you go into there, and I'm not even saying it's a different environment, but my eyes were open more or less.
Right.
And he just, whether it's like him bringing me to his house, have food, or just like hanging out with him, it's just being around him was just like,
right.
He's had that vibe, that energy that can't really describe.
For sure, man. But hey, man, we ain't mean to get that emotional. But since me knowing you, you always been a genuine person, and I'm so thankful for you. But I want to know, like, how did you manage to get to where you are now? Like, you always tell me, like, embrace the suck. So, like, for the people watching, like, what does that mean?
Dude, honestly, for me, it's the failure. That is, and I know it's cliche, whatever to say, but that is truly, failure is the only way to improve. And trying and having effort and just, like, because this is the one thing I can guarantee, is that if you sit there and you just keep staring at your problem day after day, month after month, year after year, and no matter what the problem is, it can be your career, it can be your family, like whatever it is, if you just sit there and stare at it and just saying, it's not going to happen. Right. And for me, more or less, like, especially this semester, was realizing that, the only person that senses that, I don't know, but like the only person that sets the temperature on the thermostat is you. You right. Control your reactions. I'm not, because don't get me wrong, there's going to be stuff that happens outside of your circumstances all the time. And it's going to suck, and it's going to present you with just challenges. Like, the one thing that you can't do, though, ever is give up.
Right.
Because once you give up, then what's the point? Why keep going? Why keep doing these amazing things we're trying to get to? Because that's what people realize, too, is that progress takes time, and people today aren't patient. They want that one day. They want that one day fix. They want that quick fix. They're not willing to, instead of building the wall brick by brick, they just want the wall fully complete and themselves. They don't want to sit there and just stack, slab, stack. Like, it's a process. That's how everything is. Like, in order to truly but like you were saying, like, quotes, embrace the suck. Like, it's funny because, like, my entire life, like, my football coach always say that, and, like, we'd always laugh at it, even the years afterward. But it literally probably until this year where it's like, that quote's so true. Yeah. Like, it really is. Like, in life, there's going to be, like, when you're a kid, like, be a kid for as long as possible. Like,
yeah, for sure, man. Like, this real world ain't no joke, man.
Like, the real world, like,
it's no joke.
I'm not going to sit here and say it's the worst thing of all time, no, but, I mean,
it's real.
It's real. Like, the shit's just, like, it just, sometimes stuff sucks. And stuff happens, and
seriously,
you just can't control some things, and especially now with, like, finance, like, whatever it is. But be a kid for as long as possible, but also, too, like, have the respect of, like, you got to know how to work.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
not look at the clock while you're working.
And honestly, I think that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with. I feel like a lot of people have never put in no real work for real. Exactly what you was just saying, like, a lot of people, they just want everything to be peaches and cream and want a house to already be built. But I seen a quote not too long ago. Would you rather live in a house that was built in a year or built in like 3 months? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But no matter what you get into, like, you have to work and you have to embrace the suck.
Nah, because you're like, exactly what you're saying, like, what you put in is what you're going to get out.
No, 1,000%.
Like, because I was telling myself, and I feel like this is a position other people were in too, where, like, you tell yourself you're working when you're really not, though.
Yeah,
you tell yourself you're getting the things done that you need to, but you're really not.
Yeah.
Like, especially this semester, like, whether it's been, like, grade-wise or just, like, getting my internship for the summer, it's like, I've just been, like, there's no more time now.
Right.
Like, there's no more time or days where it's like, hey, I can't do anything or do, like, no, like, it's today.
Right.
And you have to do it. But also, I think, too, the one thing that gets lost sometimes is the reason why you do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, the example I'll use, my professors use. Say if you're at a grocery store or you're at a convenience store, you walk in, your bill's like $10. You give 15, the lady gives you back 10.
Right.
You have 3 decisions you can really make. You can return the money out of fear that you'll be caught.
Right.
You can return the money hoping for a reward and hoping to get compensated even more. Or you can return it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And oftentimes, the harder thing and the right thing are the same thing.
Facts.
And that's the thing that people won't do sometimes. They won't just like be like, they'll look at the hard thing and not realize like, oh, like, I don't want to do this. No. The hard thing and the right thing are often two and the same.
For sure.
And, you know, you do it if I'm telling you, if you do it enough times, things will happen for you.
Facts.
Whether it's going to be positive, negative, I'm not sure. Something's going to happen, though.
1,000%.
And it's going to be an experience gained, but it's also something, too, where you can't give up. Like, you can't,
facts.
like, that first failure, like, whether it's failure 1, because I failed so many times.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, like, I've been saying it for the longest, like, especially my podcast, you're not really failing, you're only learning.
That, too.
And if you're not failing, you're not even trying for real.
Yeah. Because that's the thing with me where it's like, I failed so many times, whether it's been school or, like, my life, my relationships. Like, the one thing you can always do, though, is you can always practice and put work in. For any craft, whether it's, you know, being in the gym, whether it's academics, like whatever field it is in, practice makes perfect. And if you do it enough times, you're eventually going to get that skill or that practice, and it becomes secondhand nature.
Right.
But the thing is, though, that takes time. And people, I feel like sometimes in today's society aren't, like, you know, willing to put in that time, that work in order to get to, like, wherever they want to be. And their morals, too, are more or less like, well, I want to be rewarded for this. It's like, no. You should be doing stuff because it's the right thing to do, not because you're going to get rewarded for it or fear punishment. It's because, you know, it's the right thing to do. And I feel like that's now being lost, like, in society in terms of, like, you know, what is the right thing.
I think I agree with everything you're saying. I think a lot of people are scared to be themselves, too. And one thing about myself, dang, I just slipped. One thing about myself, I realized, like, for the longest, I was trying to be like him. I wanted what he had. You know, I seen all the success that all these people had. But all I had to do was realize that all I had to do was be me. It's cool to be me. And the minute I decided to be me is the minute my whole life changed. The minute I started to see the most progress in my life and just me being exactly where I am now.
Well, because that's the thing, too. This, like, people didn't realize, like, sometimes, like, when you're on this journey of self-improvement and stuff like that, like, you have to look inward also, too. Because in order for you to improve sometimes, like, and it's even been true in this semester, like, I'm not saying I don't have friends, but, like, you have that lonely feeling.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where you're not going out, you know, like, whether you're in the lab working or in the gym doing whatever, like, there's just those hours where, you know, you're by yourself and you're working.
For sure.
And you don't realize it, but over time, you know, you kind of, like, isolation is almost a gift.
Right.
To where you now have this space where you can work and it be undisturbed and now have this great idea and pull it into fruition.
For sure.
And make whatever dreams or whatever you want reality.
Right.
But kind of going back to what you're saying, though, I feel like another thing, too, people staying in their own lanes and concerning themselves or worrying about things that really don't deserve that second thought or whatever. Because, like, that's half the time, like, people's worries, like, I'm not saying they aren't justified, but, like, they're worrying about the smallest or littlest things where it's like, listen, there'll be things you can control, things you can't control. Control the things you can control and, like, to the best of your ability, and then, you know, weather the storm for if the bad times come. Yeah. Because they will come. But the ability to internalize and get through that, it's not even necessarily like where it's like, oh, I want to excel past these problems. No. Sometimes the problems are so big in your face, it's like, hey, just survive. You get through this. Because tough times don't last, tough people do.
For sure. I literally just said that.
And like exactly what you said. Like, eventually over time, I mean, like, you know, stuff's going to happen. And if you just keep, I'm telling you, one day at a time, just get done when you get done, you know, go to the gym, like, you put in a little extra work, and slowly but surely, over the course of, like, whether it's a month or a year or however long, you start seeing, you know, you're not seeing the path directly, but you're seeing the path form, though.
Okay.
And, you know, this story or whatever part of life you're in, more or less, like, that starts to become a little more clear. And even though you may not have direction or, like, that true, like, why am I doing this, that path starts to form a little bit.
For sure.
And you now have direction of, like, what you want to do and, like, where you want to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think, too, that's the other thing, too, like, when you're on this journey, take some time to appreciate it, too. Because oftentimes, like, you know, we'll be in the middle of whatever steps we're taking to get to our end goal, but we'll literally be in the middle of, like, what we used to pray for at night. And, you know, like, moments that we just dreamed of and wished in the back of our head were there, but we're now in a point mentally where we want to get to that next step. Like, be appreciative of the work you put in.
For sure.
Because, like, there's gonna be certain times where, you know, like, you're gonna wake up tired, hungry, you know, you haven't slept great in a week, but, like, it's just, you keep going.
It's gonna be
many
times.
You don't know why. Whenever that alarm clock goes off, though, you stare up at the ceiling for a minute or two.
Just get up.
And you just get up and you do it.
Right.
And, you know, you start stacking days. Like, that's another thing, too. Like, I feel like stacking days is, like, just sometimes, like, it's one of the best things.
For sure.
Because, at least for me, it's, you do it for long enough, and you have a new skill or whatever required, but you don't look at it, though, in the sense of, like, oh, I stacked 2 days. It's like, no, you just do it.
Right.
And eventually you just lose count, and then it's just every day is a good day when you wake up.
Do you have a quote that you live by, or a quote that you just can't get out of your head?
Dude, the one I saw recently was from the movie Bleed for This. What was the biggest lie you ever told? And he responds, it's not that simple. And she goes, what do you mean? It's like, no, it's not that simple. And he breaks it down where, you know, people oftentimes tell you that you can't do something, or that, you know, you're delusional for this dream, whatever. And then you do it, and it's not delusion anymore. It's reality.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, and I've been thinking about that quite a lot recently, of, like, people will make life and make, you know, process and decision making, like, this entire, like, you know, brainstorm process, and you gotta do, no, simple.
Right.
Do the right thing, and oftentimes the right thing is a hard thing, but you do it, though, because it's the right thing to do.
For sure.
And that's the one thing where, me, it's like, no matter what situation I'm in, is, like, the small details, too, those matter. Like, that's the number one thing. My advice for any young person, if you pay attention to the small details, like I'm telling you, you'll be so far ahead of everyone else. Like, if you can just notice that little piece of trash in the corner, whether you're in a cleanup job, or, you know, like, just maybe making whatever field it is, or whatever aspect it is, the little details, like, matter often more than the big details.
For sure.
Because the big details everyone can see, but the truly, like, great people, they'll see the little details and make it that much better.
Right.
So.
1000%, man. For me, the quote, I'm not going to say I live by, but the one that has stuck with me throughout the majority of my life is something that my brother told me a long time ago. And I don't know if he saw this in a movie, but my brother, he don't even watch movies like that. But he put this in the high school yearbook. He said, broken crayon still color. And it's just that simple. It don't matter what you go through. It don't matter what I've been through.
I love that shit.
A broken crayons
can still color. Damn.
Broken crayon still color. It don't matter what I go through. Nothing can break me. And sometimes as a man, just as a person, you just got to stand there and stand firm. No matter what you're going through, you just got to push through.
Nah.
And just stay at it. Every single day, get up. Like we keep saying. Broken crayon still color.
No, that ain't. Just wake up. Like, be respectful to people, dude. Like, because that too, like, oftentimes people will feel spite or feel a certain type of way out of, like, someone else. It's like, listen, that's everyone else's journey.
Yeah.
Like, people gotta realize that, like, you know, their path is not yours. And
yes, man, I cannot emphasize that enough.
Like, whatever the hell they're doing, like, that's great for them. Like, I'm glad they got what they got, but I'm gonna get what I'm supposed to get.
Yeah,
because I know that I'm not even religious like this, but God has a plan for someone or a person, and
facts.
Whether you believe or don't believe in that, it's just like more or less like that vision will form eventually.
Right.
But staying in your own lane though, and just, you know, cutting out all the outside noise and just focusing and just grinding.
Right.
Like, that's the only thing. Is like just grind. Like, because as if I'm like, when I say grind, like really grind though. Yeah. Like, don't tell yourself you're grinding. Like, embrace it. Like, embrace the suck. Like, you gotta almost love the trenches.
Yeah.
And but I mean that is like you gotta love just being in the shit. And in terms of like, you know, there's just crap happening around you all the time, and you can't control it. And there's oftentimes your environment's out of control, but have the ability to like just get through that, and you gotta love being in it too.
For sure.
I feel like it's lost.
No, in fact,
people want to live in comfortability now. It's like, why would you want to do that? Like, do you think me, someone that I've lived in Miami now for 3 years, but like you think I wanted to go do this internship this summer in North Dakota? Like 40 hours, like middle of nowhere, like hell no.
Right.
But it's something that I know that it'll just benefit. It'll only be a positive experience for me. Whether I hate it there or I don't like it there, it's another experience gained, more skills gained, more people met. So
right. Honestly, likewise with this podcast, like I can come up with a million excuses right now, and just not to make an episode. I can come up with a million excuses not to put out this video or just put out any form of content. But you gotta really fall in love with the grind. 1000%, bro. I definitely feel you for sure. Falling in love with the grind is one of the most important things you can do, because I feel like we just contradicting ourselves at this point, but because you're not going to wake up every single day and feel comfortable where you are. You're going to be tired. You're going to feel hopeless. You're going to feel like everything you're doing is pointless. And sometimes you're really going to feel like throwing in the towel. But every time you feel like throwing in the towel, you just got to remember why you started to begin with. You got to remember why you got up. You got to remember why you got into whatever you... Oh my God, I'm too passionate to talk about this.
Nah.
Man. But just don't.
But dude, that is true though. Like, I feel like in my life, like with everything that I've gone through, like what you're saying though is like so true.
Yeah.
In terms of like just keeping that perspective of, and you're like just willing to work, like more or less. But keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you good, bro. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, bro, don't be so quick to throw in the towel, because you can be 1 second away from that win that you're looking for.
No, literally, and this too, like, bro, all it takes is one small win to get, and like you get, because once you taste that, dude,
yes,
it's almost like it's really like a drug. Like you have to get that next hit.
No, facts.
And you just keep going, and eventually you get to a place where it's like, holy, like crap, like,
facts.
You know, we're on the mountaintop.
Honestly, in my opinion, bro, like if you try every single day, you win it, and when you win every day, you're gonna win in the long run. All you gotta do is literally just keep showing up. And I know I keep saying this in all my videos, but it's true, because like once you grinding, if you wake up and give 110% every day to no matter what you're doing, you are going to win in the long run. And I'm telling you, like, it's gonna feel like you lonely. It's gonna feel like that you have no idea what you're doing at times. But I'm telling you, like a year from now, you're gonna look up and like be like, dang, like bro, I can't believe I'm here. And I use myself as an example. Like when I first got into content creation, bro, I used to be that person, like we were saying earlier in the episode, like bro, like I wish I had everything figured out. And I used to always be so quick to give up. Bro, I used to be so quick to give up like this. Like I give up in a heartbeat. As soon as I didn't get a specific amount of likes or, you know, type of recognition that I was looking for, I'd be so quick to give up. I'm like, man, nah, it's not gonna work. But I had to tell myself, like, bro, I'm gonna give up every single time. Like, bro, I gotta be willing to, I gotta stay down, because I know this is the route for me. I gotta stay down because I know what's coming. You know, even though I'm not seeing the results right now, I know I'm on my way to get to where I'm trying to go. I know I'm on my way. And most importantly, I know that I gotta get comfortable. Once I get comfortable, it's over with. For the longest, ever since I was a kid, I used to tell myself, like, bro, like, if I have this, if I have that, you know, I'll be there. But, you know, I gotta get comfortable where I'm at. And I gotta get comfortable with what I got, and I gotta make the best of what I got. Because matters can always be worse, no matter what you're going through. Honestly, that is true. That's one of the biggest things I tell to anybody out there. Your situation can always be worse, and you really gotta make the best of what you got. Because if you got something, whether it's somebody that's, whether it's one person that's supporting you, or one piece of, you know, phone or whatever to produce content, that's all you need. Seriously. Because matters could always be worse, but if you can make the best of what you got right now, then it's going to supply you in the long run, for sure.
I feel like, too, like, people look at whatever goal they're trying to do, and they won't take it like the day-by-day approach. Like, they just look at that and say, oh, it's going to take me so long to do, and it's like, bro, you keep one day at a time.
No, for sure,
bro.
Because,
listen, the only thing in life is guaranteed every single day. The sun's going to rise, the sun's going to set. That's the only thing.
Yep.
Like, you don't know. I could literally be dead tomorrow. I could be in the hospital. I could be a billionaire tomorrow. We literally do not know. That's the only thing guaranteed. And, you know, every day, like, I hate people that wake up with the mindset of, like, oh, like, you know, it's...
oh, yo, we at it again.
Yeah, like, it's like, bro, no. It's like, today's a new day. Like, and granted, am I going to sit here and say you're going to feel like the absolute best every morning? No, you're not.
Facts, bro.
But, you get up, you do your little morning routine, and you kind of just keep going.
Bro, every single day you wake up, you have something to change about your life.
Yeah.
My friend always told me, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with that single step. If you don't take that single step, how are you ever going to go places?
Oh, literally. Especially, too, now with the whole, social media, instant gratification age. It's like, people don't want to do that. And, they're always just looking towards the future and, what's next. And, sometimes people just need to be more grounded, I feel like. And just be more, in reality of, understanding that,
Yeah.
There's certain ways that the world works, but the one thing that has always been guaranteed is, you work hard, you do the right things, good things will more than likely happen to you.
For sure, man.
So,
as we come to a close, man, I want to ask you this one question, man. Is there any advice that you would give to your younger self or to a younger kid that maybe is in the same position as you? Or trying to get in the same position as you?
I would almost do the 80-15-5 rule. So 80% of the time you're going to feel lost and you're going to have no idea what the hell's going on, what you're doing, anything like that. 15% of the time you're going to be in the gray area where you don't feel certain, you don't feel positive, you don't feel negative, you're kind of just there and existing. 5% of the time you win. And you have to be chasing that because especially now, once you graduate high school, more or less, I'm not saying that the real world starts, but it kind of does so.
Right.
That happy-go-lucky kind of, stuff. Because especially now with college, with just the percentage of kids not getting jobs in their field and just doing certain things too. But I'm just realizing that if you want to be exceptional, sometimes you have to be the exception. And if you want to be that person or that guy, often you have to outwork every single person, and then also outwork yourself every single day, and just to try to achieve your dreams. But don't overthink it though. That's the other thing too. People overthink it, and they introduce all these different factors, and they'll sit on Instagram and listen to the motivational quotes for hours or videos, and it's dude, Joe Rogan, David Goggins, whoever, they can't motivate you to do it. It's you that has to do it.
Right.
Something has to flick in your mind. I'm not gonna don't get me wrong. This video's gonna be great, but something has to happen internally where you flip a switch and you say, "No, we're not going to let this happen anymore," or "I am going to do this, and I'm going to be committed to this." And then eventually you start doing it, and then eventually you just kind of look around. You're like, "What the hell? I'm here now." So just keep your head down and work though. Number one advice to any kid or person. Right. And then having good morals too, and doing stuff for the right reasons too. I think that's another one. So,
Mac Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, man. But my advice and I gotta sit up when I say this, man. My advice to the kids, man. I love the kids first and foremost. But what I would say is, you're on your way in every aspect. No matter what you choose to do, no matter what you get into, you always gotta remember you on your way. Even when you're going through the most, you on your way. Even when they don't believe in you, you on your way. Even when they counted you out, you on your way. You know how many people told me I wasn't gonna be here? I always remember you on your way, 1,000%. And you on your way to go places that nobody ain't never been before, and everybody can't go with you. I always remember that, man. This is Matt Thomas. I appreciate you for coming, my dog.
Bro, I appreciate it.
We're going to play his handle. Man, shout out to my boy, for real. This man right... Matter of fact, let me say this. This man right here is one of the most genuine people I ever met on this campus and just in my life in general. And I'm blessed to have met you and come across you, for real, man.
Bro, and I knowing you, dude, great things happen to great people, bro. I know some shit's going to happen for you. I can't tell you when, but I know something's going to happen for you, though. And I know it's going to be positive, and you're going to love life. And I'm going to be sitting there looking like, yo, my boy Keith right there, fucking. Be like a proud demo. Yeah. Shed a little tear, bro. Yo, Mac, why you crying middle lunch? My boy Keith, you made it.
I appreciate you, brother.
Nah, dude.
But, Lord, man, this is the 129 podcast. 129 forever. Y'all stay tuned, man, for another episode. See y'all soon.